Hi, welcome to my video. My name is Terriniatells. In today's video, I want to show you how I make a budget sheet. I've seen a lot of really good and interesting and exciting budget sheets on YouTube, but they always seem very elaborate and maybe very overwhelming for someone who's just starting out with making a budget sheet. If you're just kind of struggling to maintain your income, or you don't really know where your money is going, or you struggle to save up for anything, then this might be the budget sheet for you. I know this budget sheet really helped me when I was struggling with low income and when I was still a student and I really had to micromanage my money. So let's get into it.
So my budget sheet is very basic and it's just perfect if you're just starting out with budgeting money, or most importantly, if you have no idea how much money is coming in and how much is going out and where all your money is going. So the first thing you want to do is you want to start making months. You start with the first one and you start with January. So basically one book in Excel sheet would be like 1 year. You make 12 tabs for 12 months. Let's do that real quick. Then what you want to do, you want to start on the top left with your income and amount. So under income you put in the type of income, and under amount you put in how much money it is. I like to give it a color. Then I do recommend that on the columns that have the amount, you right click. Sorry, it's in Dutch. So you right click, then you go to sell properties, and then you go for financial. You pick your currency. For me that's euro, and onto decimal points. So that means when you put in a number here, like it's gonna add the euro sign to it or the dollar sign for your case, and it will make it like this. So you have the cents. So we'll fill in the nothing for now, 0, and I just stretch this out a little bit, makes it look a little better. And then you're gonna add all your income. So income from job, side hustle income, to get some dividends. You never know. Maybe you're that financially savvy that you are here to get a tutorial on a basic budget sheet, but you're already investing and you're getting dividends. So that will be a big contrast. But that's okay, everybody's different. Maybe you're getting any government support. Let's say you have a decent job, €1,800 a month. That's about our minimum wage. And you're doing real good at your side hustle, you got 300, and you're not doing so good with dividends, you're getting 50 a month, and the government gives you jack shit, it's 30 a month. Right, so then at the bottom, you want to write a total. And this is what's going to happen with the total. You don't fill in the number, so you don't necessarily have to put the calculator off by heart. What you do is you say is sum, open bracket, B2. So you take a look at where the first number is, colon B, I would say 15, just get the whole row in case you ever get anything more. Is not good, that's fine, because this is in Dutch. So for you it's sum, S-U-M, because English, I'm Dutch, so I have a weird thing. So, and B15, hoppa. So now let's put that all together by itself. Then you go to expenses. Now this is a budget sheet that really only focuses on income and expenses, as in it's based on a household. Like just a general household where you have to budget your money. You can also make a budget sheet that includes things like liabilities and assets, but that's a little next level. That's something for another time. Let's just start with the basic control on your expenses. And again, you want to add here amount. You always start with what's most important. So you start with rent, and then electricity, gas bill, if that's one. If it's 2 different companies, then you can do that. Water, also very important. Internet bill, and you probably have a phone bill, whether the mobile phone or a landline, probably a mobile phone at this point in life. And probably some medical insurance, maybe a car insurance. And then you're gonna go down to the less pressing things, like maybe you have a Spotify, or maybe you have a subscription to World of Warcraft, who knows. And you also wanna include one for groceries. Right, so your rent, let's say 500, that seems about accurate, at least for the Netherlands. Gas, electricity bill, nice and high these days. Water bill, always been very low for me, I don't know about you. Internet, always too much. Phone bill, probably also too much. Spotify, about 11 these days. I should know this. 10. Yeah, for me it's 10. Also, you see the difference here? This one is set and this one isn't. Let's set this one as well real quick. And again, what you're going to do is you're going to total it up is sum, yes. So you add that together. I like to make this a different shade of yellow or orange because we're not done here. What you're going to do now, obviously there is a difference. After all the bills, you have money left. What the goal is of a budget sheet is to have an idea of how much money you have left and what you can do with it. So what you're going to do is you're going to write buffer, and I'll explain what a buffer is in a bit. And a buffer, what you're going to do is the sum bracket B16 minus D16. There you go. So that shows you how much you got left after the bills. So a lot of people struggle with maintaining their household or maintaining their finance because they basically use all their disposable income and they don't have any buffers saved up. What is a buffer? A buffer is a pot of money that is just sitting there free to be used whenever there's an emergency of some sort. And the term emergency can be extremely broad. It can be as serious as somebody broke something or got really hurt and you need to pay off all the medical bills at once. It can also be something as simple as the fridge broke down and you need a new one right away. There are a few rules of thumbs about how much a buffer should be. Some say it should be 3 times your monthly income. Some say it should be half a year of your income. Some say it should be a year. Because some people don't just use the buffer for paying a quick bill. A lot of people also argue that you can use this buffer in case you lose your job and then you can survive for a few months. Personally, I would always categorize that in just the general savings because buffers is outside your general savings. A buffer should be very specific for something. A buffer for a fridge, a buffer for a car. When you make a buffer for a device, take the value that it had when you bought it. So if you bought a fridge that was 300 euro, you take the 300, you divide the 300 over 5 years, and whatever comes out of that is the amount you want to put away each month for that particular thing. When it's about buffers, you can basically go in 2 directions. You can just make one really large buffer where you just put a big sum of money aside every month, like 100, 200, and whenever something breaks, you just take out of it indiscriminately. You can also do what I do, and that's just make smaller buffers for each individual thing that you want to build a buffer for. A downside to the general buffer is that if you have 2 things breaking down or 2 emergencies in a row, then you might have drained your buffer for one thing and it wouldn't be enough for the next. A big downside of the more divided buffer is that it becomes a bit of a micromanaging thing. But I have a system for that as well. So if you find the idea of separate little buffers attractive, I'm going to show you how to manage that. If you're going to go for one big buffer, you can just say buffer 1 and just say how much you're going to put away per month for that buffer. Because buffers aren't the only thing you can put on the buffer banner. You can say you put some money aside each month so you can buy fuel. You say you're going to put some money aside for extra supplies. Because these aren't necessarily bills. These are just things that you expect to spend money on. That's the difference between expenses and buffers. So this is basically a way to create buffers. So this is one big buffer for emergencies, emergency buffer, you could name it. And this is just things you expect to spend in that month. Yeah, so that's one way to do it. The other way is the way I prefer. But let's say you are as nitpicky and micromanager as I am, and you want to have a buffer for each separate thing. There are a whole bunch of things in life that you might expect to spend money on. If you have a computer, at some point you're going to want to replace the computer. And the number can be as low as 10 euro. Because a computer usually takes 5 years before it needs to be replaced. If you have an oven, the oven at some point is going to break. If you have a fridge, the fridge at some point is going to break. If you wear clothes, at some point you're going to buy some new clothes. At this point you might think, what's the point of this? I have spending money for this, right? Just wait for it. Oh, I'll come back on that. Now you have a whole bunch of buffers, and then we're going to add another total. And you probably already know what I'm going to do. Is sum D20 until D29. And then you say spending money is sum D19 minus D32. Then it means you have spending money left for that month, 556, if these are the numbers that you're looking at. I'm very minimalistic. I wouldn't be spending 500 money. I wouldn't be spending 500 euro every month, so you can crank up a lot here. Put more away for gifts. I'm gonna put more away for clothes. Depending on your economy and where you are, you do want to give yourself enough spending money. Not lots, just enough. If there is money scarcity, you're more likely to use it. If there is peace about the money that you have, then you're less likely to get anxious and less likely to use it. If you don't have money, you're gonna end up wanting things you can't have. So you end up spending it anyways to get that thing that your brain is telling you you can't afford. So I have 2 savings accounts basically. I also have 2 spending accounts, but that's a different story. So I can put all of these buffers in their own account and then have these in a different saving account. So this would be my general emergency fund for if I lost my job, investments for the future, and just short-term buffers. I like to give my short-term buffers a bit of a color so I can see them better. Nobody has like, well, 10 different saving accounts, right? So this is what you do. You make another sheet and you call this your buffer sheet. Now at the top of this, you want to always put the year that you're buffering over. Then you're going to put in the months again. Now Excel's very smart. If you put in January and February and you put them together with the Celtic cross and then you grab the tiny cross, it will fill in the rest for you and you can just drag it all the way to December. Easy peasy lemon squeezy. Go back to your budget, grab these and paste these here. Pull it out a little bit, make it look neat. And initially you're just gonna fill this in 0, 0, 0, 0, 0. Then you grab this tiny cross again and pull it over to December. Same here. At the end of this, after December, you're gonna put in a total. And there's a reason I'm not pulling the zeros over the total. I'm gonna mark the total though, make it a little easy to read. Let's just fill this in the way we did earlier. Just now, instead of making zeros here, what you're gonna do is again sum. You only have to do this once, don't worry. B3, and if it wasn't clear, you have to grab this based on the cell you're grabbing. Colon M3. There, it will say 10. You don't have to type that again for every item that you have. What you can just do, you can just select the 10, grab the tiny cross again, and pull it down, and it will apply the same volume to all of these. If you want to test that, you can just go to February for any of it, add in a number, and you'll see it will change. Then you go again. Total is sum N3 until N11. So now you can see how much you should have in your buffer account in total and what exactly it is for each month. And every month you just go back and fill in the numbers based on what you budgeted for that month. So that is the simplest and in my opinion the best budget sheet if you're just starting and you just want to get a grip on where your money is going. The worse your financial situation is, the more detailed you should go. Because in those situations, every penny counts and you want to make sure that it goes to the right place. The moment that the incomes becomes higher, well, I'll just demonstrate. I get like 5,000 a month and my side hustle has exploded. I get 10,000 a month and my dividend is doing so well. I get 3,000 a month and the government still pays me jack shit. I get 20 a month. You see the problem here? You won't need to up anything for a computer because the computer is not suddenly more expensive just because you make more money. Same with the oven, same with the fridge. Maybe you want to go a little more lavish on your clothes. If you have a lot of income, then this is just pointless. Then you better off just say, okay, I'm going to put 30% away in savings and it will probably always be enough to cover your buffer needs, your saving needs, and emergency needs. But that is a personal judgment and it's also a bit of your personality. Like, how much grip do you want? This is how you make a really basic budget sheet if you're just starting out making your budget and you're trying to get a grip on your finance and trying to figure out where all your money is going. So I hope this was very clear. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments. Would you use a sheet like this and what would you do differently? But if you enjoyed it, please leave a like on the video for me. And if you want to see more things like that, basically I make videos about lifestyle and sometimes trek and self-improvement. And I'm on a journey of self-improvement myself, which if you want, I can tell you more about. I'll see you in the next video. Bye!